More and more Americans are finally realizing that Trump's behavior across his lifetime, not as president, regarding women is indefensible. And when someone has that pattern of behavior, you got to kind of give it to the MAGA faithful for winning the gold medal of cognitive dissonance. Because whether it's Trump, Epstein, the Epstein files, or just their friendship in this breaking story, something new you haven't seen before, you have to understand when people say boys will be boys, and that excuse MAGA gave of, oh, it's just locker room talk, that's not true when you're talking about wealth and power and being male. Trust me on the sunscreen. And in this breaking story, you need to see a collection of how Trump has been for a long time, because it came down in this story to one very global, prominent, beloved person that they were treating like a chess piece on a game board. Before I show you the story, take a look at this.
Thursday night. You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
So with that said...
My daughter is beautiful, Ivanka.
By the way, your daughter...
She's beautiful.
Howard Stern was so good at getting Donald to just bury himself, because there's more.
Can I say this? A piece of ass.
Yeah.
To walk in. It's too young. 30's like a perfect age.
Absolutely. She has enough life experience.
Until she's 35.
Yeah. Well, see, that's too much life experience.
What is it at 35, Howard? It's called checkout time.
And you're probably, I would say, the greatest judge of beauty on this planet. In fact, I would create a TV show for you where all you did was just judge women.
Donald Trump loves a beauty pageant. And by his own admission, he was no stranger backstage while owning parts of 3 different pageants for nearly 2 decades.
Now, that may be the best idea of all.
It's a simple thing. It's a half hour, and we strip it out all over the country.
I would say I'm the all-time judge.
You own this pageant. You go over, you look, you're meeting the girls and stuff. One of them comes up to you and says, Mr. Trump, you're a very sexy man.
You're a beautiful man. You have fantastic hair.
Well, you're a powerful man, right? You're a powerful man.
Right.
I want to sleep with you.
They're standing there with no clue. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
In 2001, Tasha Dixon was Miss Arizona, competing in the Miss USA pageant. She experienced this kind of awkward moment firsthand.
Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half naked changing into our bikinis.
I happen to personally know Tasha Dixon. She's not lying.
Now, you're not the type that would say no.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right. No, but I mean, you see a beautiful woman, you want to have that. You're a guy who likes to have everything, right?
Well, couldn't that be construed, however, as
conflict?
Yes.
Well, I don't see it as a conflict.
It could be a conflict of interest.
Dixon was 18 at the time and says watching Trump storm into a dressing room was shocking.
But, it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Oh, I see.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later on.
It should come as no shock in this breaking story that these 2 guys trading off people at Mar-a-Lago, trading off people at their mansion flats in New York, talking about one of the most prominent figures in global politics, Lady Di, Princess Diana, and their thoughts about trying to get her. Take a look at this disturbing, disgusting breaking story here. Breaking news. Trump and Epstein's twisted race to sleep with Princess Diana, author. Jeffrey Epstein and President Donald Trump once competed to sleep with Princess Diana to further their own celebrity status, says the president's longtime biographer, Michael Wolff. Wolff made the revelation on the Daily Beast's Inside Trump's Head podcast, telling host Joanna Coles that both Epstein and Trump attempted to woo the British princess and, in the process, reached the apex of the world's most prominent social networks. They had a competition, Trump and Epstein, Wolff said, of who would be the first one to sleep with Princess Diana. They just understood. What could you get from these people? Both Trump and Epstein. What can you get from somebody is the question you would always ask about anybody. Wolff said that the 2 New York-born businessmen each sought to further their fame and fortune. Diana could do just that. The former British TV anchor Selena Scott wrote in 2015 that Trump saw Diana as the ultimate trophy wife, adding that he tried to impress her after she divorced then Prince Charles in 1996. He reportedly sent her huge bouquets to Kensington Palace. The always polite Diana responded with a thank you letter for the flowers. However, she reportedly told Scott in private that Trump in quotes, gives me the creeps. Trump has spoken publicly about his desire to sleep with Diana in the past. He said in a 1997 interview with Howard Stern's show that he could have had sex with the British royal. Stern asked Trump, "Why do people think it's egotistical of you to say you could have gotten with Lady Di? You could have gotten her, right? You could have nailed her." In quotes, "I think I could have," Trump replied. Trump made a similar declaration in a separate 2000 broadcast with Stern, adding that Diana was crazy, but these are minor details. He said that he would have slept with the princess who died in 1997 without hesitation if given the chance. Wolf first spoke of Epstein and Trump's alleged competition to sleep with Diana on his podcast just before the 2024 presidential election. Trump's camp denied the claim at the time and released a second statement to the Daily Beast on Thursday. In quotes, "Michael Wolff is a lying sack of shite and has been proven to be a fraud," said White House Communication Director Stephen Chung. "He routinely fabricates stories originating from his sick and warped imagination, only possible because he has a severe and debilitating case of Trump derangement syndrome that has rotted his peanut-sized brain." Trump continues to face pressure for his past friendship with Epstein. He has tried to distance himself from the pedophile and has begged the public to move on from the issue. The growing rumor among critics of Trump is that the president is named in the so-called Epstein files that are yet to see the light of day, something Trump's old pal Elon Musk alleged during their high-profile breakup on June 5th. While details about the extent of Trump and the convicted ex-offender's relationship remain murky, Wolf, who has interviewed Epstein, said on Thursday's show that Epstein and Trump functioned as a duo. He also alleged that Andrew, Epstein, and Trump were at one point like three musketeers. In quotes, "They were, grifter buddies, basically," he said. "I mean, they had the same interest in women and also in money. How do you get money? How do these two guys who don't work for major corporations, who don't have relationships with major banks, or don't have good relationships? The answer," he later said, "was by their endless pursuit of climbing up the social ladder." And in all respect, this should come as no shock. This story is no surprise. This happens constantly, all over the globe. Whether it's a corporate person who's the target, whether it's somebody's literal wife who's the target, whether it's a sports star, a music star, or anyone else. There are powerful men, oftentimes, in conjunction with one another, or in this case, in competition with one another, to quote-unquote, get her before you do. And that is the key to understanding the psyche of both these guys and why Donald Trump knows the Epstein files can never be exposed, because every single thing about his pattern and behavior from the time he was an elitist, wealthy child at 17, 18 years old, everything has always been at his disposal, and no one tells Donnie no. You guys stay frosty.